All right, let's get to Luke Popovich. Luke Popovich is Vice President of Communications and the spokesperson for the National Mining Association. We got them things going on right now, especially in Southwest Virginia. Luke, good to have you, man.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I know you all would rather have the coach, but, I'm on the bench and I'm ready to come in.
All right, Luke's ready to come in. Greg Popovich, the longtime coach of the San Antonio Spurs. I'm a Houston Rockets fan, so they've been my arch enemy for many years. They keep winning.
I know.
Aggravates me. I don't know how they do it.
It is, but that, you put a Popovich on your program, you're going to start winning eventually.
Going to start winning. Am I tired of winning yet? That's the question.
Well,
President, I'm not tired of winning yet.
Beginning to win. The coal industry is beginning to win now. So,
tell us what's happening.
Well, I think what's happening is that you've got a new government in. You've got a new team in Washington, D.C., and one of the big differences is they're not dedicated to destroying the coal industry the way the Obama administration was for 8 years. In fact, they're dedicated to reviving it. And they may not get all of us back, but they're doing a good job, and I think we're going to see more of that this week in repealing and replacing some of the regulations that the Obama team has put on coal and has made it much, much harder for the coal industry to compete.
Luke, would you be able to identify for us exactly what regs are going to get repealed that you think is going to revitalize the mining industry, especially as it relates to us?
There are two regulations that we can expect to see repealed in the near future, possibly as soon as tomorrow. The first is the Clean Power Plan. This was EPA's grand idea to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by shutting down a lot of power plants that survived Obama's earlier rules. And by repealing this rule, the president can save about 126,000 jobs over the next 10 years, because that is what the impact of the Clean Power Plan was going to be, based on both federal figures and data that we put together. Basically, it would have cut about 28% out of total U.S. coal production. So by repealing this rule, we put roughly a third of our coal production back in business, and we can put at least save another 126,000 jobs throughout the supply chain from being idled, from being destroyed. And then the second rule is the moratorium. This is a moratorium that was placed by the prior administration on the federal coal program. And this is the program in Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, that supplies about 41% of all the coal in the United States. So by lifting this moratorium off, when the market improves, it's a green light to begin new lease sales and start the coal production from the west again. So these are two big rules that we think can help restore confidence in the industry and in the investor community.
Wow. I tell you what, that is really exciting. So let's get Luke Popovich. Let's get to coal mining jobs that have been just devastated, especially in my neck of the woods in Southwest Virginia, in Joe Manchin's area in West Virginia. Tell us a little bit about what the impact these could have on getting coal miners back to work, those that are out, and saving the jobs of those that are still in the business.
Well, we're seeing already some anecdotal evidence in the market where companies are encouraged by what they're seeing from government, lifting some of the regulatory burden off their backs. And that means that they're better able to compete in the marketplace with natural gas and the heavily subsidized renewable fuels that are also competing in the power generation space in the market. Mm-hmm. So that means that it's unlikely that so many mines will be shut down, because companies are looking to a more positive future and seeing the possibility of bringing some of these people back, mm-hmm. to say nothing of keeping the miners they have on the payroll, mm-hmm. instead of anticipating further cuts. We've lost 68,000 coal mine jobs since 2011 through 2016.
Unbelievable.
And that's an astonishing number when you consider each of these jobs is a job capable of supporting a family, because the salaries and the total compensation with benefits can easily exceed $87,000-$90,000 a year.
Right.
And Americans everywhere keep asking themselves, where are these good jobs that my father or my grandfather had in manufacturing and basic industries? Well, this is one reason why we don't have them anymore, because we had a president for 8 years that really didn't care about them. So we've now got at least a team in place.
Mm-hmm.
They're struggling to find their way, obviously,
mm-hmm.
but at least they're beginning to turn it around,
mm-hmm.
and that's why we're encouraged. Obviously, natural gas and the marketplace have a lot to do with the decline that we've seen in coal in the last 8 years, but there's no question that our government has not helped. And now we don't have to fight on the one hand our competitors in natural gas industry, at the same time fight our own government. We can at least concentrate on the business side of things.
Luke, I got a couple more minutes. We're with Luke Popovich. He is the spokesperson for the National Mining Association. Deregulations are going to have a major impact on getting our jobs back in coal mining areas like Southwest Virginia. The impact on coal companies, because the bottom line is the coal companies have to make money, and what these regulations did is they made it less profitable, or in some instances not profitable to mine. Exactly. Because of the cost of it. So they stopped mining and they couldn't compete with natural gas or anything else. And then the jobs go away, which was by design, because that's what Obama said, right? President Obama said he wanted to end the coal industry. And so these regulations were done to do that by putting the mining companies out of business. It's basically the math here. So
that's exactly right.
How do these regulations change that?
That's right.
Right.
No, he dedicated his administration to, as he put it, in 2008, when he was campaigning for the presidency, or 2007, he promised to raise the cost on coal-based power generation to the point where there would be no more investment in it. No businesses would want to be in there. And that's exactly what he did. Through his regulations, he raised the cost of constructing and running a coal-based power plant. He forced all these utility companies to shut down their coal power plants. That meant you didn't need that many coal mines, because there wasn't the market for them. And if you don't have the coal mines, obviously there's no place for coal miners. And that goes throughout the supply chain. The ripple effect goes to the power plants, to the workers in the railroads, the ports, the machine manufacturers, the vendors of the equipment, to the mining industry. So the next thing you know, you're unraveling an entire fabric of high-wage employment in this country, and all for basically to appease a green environmental extremist who are heavily organized in the United States, and particularly in Washington, D.C.
You are so right, man. I tell you what, Luke Popovich, we're out of time. National spokesperson for the National Mining Association. President Trump's deregulation policies as a result to mining is going to hopefully revitalize the industry, get our jobs back, save the jobs that we have. Luke, thanks for being with us, man.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate the time. This is the John Fredericks Radio Network. Word from our sponsors. Your calls when I get back.